Hello everyone, in today's session we are going to discuss reading comprehension. This is exercise passage 1. Let's begin. First of all, the index exercise questions based on passage 1 along with answers and explanations and summary as well. The disclaimer is the images used in our slide deck are for educational purposes only. We respect the intellectual property rights of the original creators and owners of these images. If you are the owner of any of the images used in this deck and have any concerns or issues, please contact us at sathee@iitk.ac.in and we shall remove the images. Let's see the directions. Read the following passages carefully and answer the given questions. Certain words, phrases are given in bold in the passages to help you locate them while answering some of the questions. Questions are to be answered on the basis of the information provided in the passage, and you are not expected to rely on outside knowledge of a particular topic. Your own views or opinions may sometimes conflict with the views expressed or the information provided in the passage. Be sure that you work within the context of the passage. You should not expect to agree with everything you encounter in reading passages. You should analyze the passage carefully before answering the accompanying questions. Look for clues that will help you understand less explicit aspects of the passage. Try to separate main ideas from supporting ideas or evidence. Note transitions from one idea to the next and examine the relationships among the different ideas or parts of the passage. For example, are they contrasting? Are they complementary? Consider the points that the author made, the conclusion drawn, and how and why those points are made or conclusions are drawn. Read each question carefully and be certain that you understand exactly what is being asked. Always read all the answer choices before selecting the best answer. The best answer is the one that accurately and completely answers the questions being posed. Be careful not to pick an answer choice simply because it is a true statement. Be careful also not to be misled by answer choices that are only partially true or only partially satisfy the problem posed in the question. The methodology of eliminating wrong answers also work here. It simply means that if you are not unable to judge the right choice or right answer, cross the answers that are incorrect. In this way, if there remains one answer to be crossed, that will be the correct answer. I hope you have understood the directions. Let's begin with question. Question 1. Let's see the passage. Do you ever feel there is a greater being inside of you busting to get out? It is the voice that encourages you to really make something of your life. When you act congruently with that voice, it's like you are a whole new person. Here, congruently means when two things fit together easily. You are bold and courageous, you are strong, you are unstoppable, but then reality sets in, and soon those moments are history. It is not hard to put yourself temporarily in an emotionally motivated state. Just listen to that motivational song for that matter. However, this motivation does not stay forever. Your great ideas seem impractical. How many times have you been temporarily inspired with an idea like, I want to start my own business, and then a week later it is forgotten? You come up with inspiring ideas when you are motivated, but you fail to maintain that motivation through the action phase. The problem we ask ourselves is, why does this happen? You can listen to hundreds of motivational speakers and experience an emotional yo-yo effect, but it does not fast. The problem is that as we are intellectually guided, we try to find logic in emotional motivation, and as we fail to find logic, eventually phases out. I used to get frustrated when my emotional motivation fizzled out after a while. Eventually, I realized that being guided by intellect was not such a bad thing after all. I just had to learn to use my mind as an effective motivational tool. I figured that if I was not feeling motivated to go after a particular goal, maybe there was a logical reason for it. I noted that when I had strong intellectual reasons for doing something, I usually did not have trouble taking action. But when my mind thinks a goal is wrong on some level, I usually feel blocked. I eventually realized that this was my mind's way of telling me the goal was a mistake to begin with. Sometimes a goal seems to make sense on one level, but when you look further upstream, it becomes clear the goal is ill-advised. Suppose you work in sales and you get a goal to increase your income by 20% by becoming a more effective salesperson. That seems like a reasonable and intelligent goal. But maybe you are inspired to find yourself encountering all sorts of internal blocks when you try to pursue it. You should feel motivated, but you just don't. The problem may be that on a deeper level, your mind knows you don't want to be working in sales at all. You really want to be a musician. No matter how hard you push yourself in sales career, it will always be a motivational dead end. Further, when you set goals that are too small and too timid, you suffer a perpetual lack of motivation. You just need a summon the courage to acknowledge your true desires. Then you will have to deal with the self-doubt and fear that has been making you think too small. Ironically, the real key to motivation is to set the goals that scare you. You are letting fears, excuses, and limiting beliefs hold you back. Your subconscious mind knows you are strong, so it won't provide any motivational fuel until you step up, face your fears, and acknowledge your heart's desire. Once you finally decide to face your fears and drop the excuses, then you will find your motivation turning on full blast. I hope you have understood the passage. Let's move to the question. The question is, according to the passage, the key to motivation is option A, setting challenging goals. Option B, not letting our fears pull us back. Option C, changing our goals periodically. Options are given below. Option 1, A and B. Option 2, only C. Option 3, all of these. Option 4, A and C. And option 5, only B. You have to choose accordingly and you have 10 seconds for it. I hope you've chosen. Let's move to the correct answer. The same question. The correct answer is 1, A and B. And the explanation is A, setting challenging goals. The author suggests that the real key to motivation lies in setting goals that scare you and push you out of your comfort zone. By doing this, you confront fears and limitations, which in turn fuels motivation. The passage clearly indicates that setting small, timid goals leads to a lack of motivation, while bold, challenging goals ignite real motivation. B, not letting our fears pull us back. The passage emphasizes that fear, excuses, and limiting belief often hold us back from taking action. The author suggests that once we face our fears and drop excuses, motivation will fully activate. Therefore, overcoming fear is a crucial part of sustaining motivation. Thus, A, setting challenging goals, and B, not letting fears pull us back are true, making 1, A and B the correct answer. I hope you have understood. Let's move to the next question. The same passage. The question is, which of the following are true in the context of the passage? A, many a time, although we are motivated at the start, we fail to keep up the motivation while working towards the goal. B, we can learn to use our mind as a motivation tool. C, being guided by intellect is very bad. Options are A and B and C, only A and C, and all of these. You have 10 seconds to choose accordingly. I hope you have chosen the right one. Same question. The correct answer is 1, A and B. And the explanation is A, many a time, although we are motivated at the start, we fail to keep up the motivation by working towards the goal. This is true according to the passage. The author explained that emotional motivation can be fleeting. People often feel inspired initially, but that motivation fades over time. For instance, a person may have a great idea like starting their own business, but soon forget about it after the initial surge of motivation wanes. B, we can learn to use our mind as a motivation tool. This is true as well. The author states that they eventually realized being intellectually guided was not a bad thing. They learned that if they were not feeling motivated, it might be because there was a logical reason for it. Using the intellect to analyze goals and find strong intellectual reasons for pursuing them helps maintain motivation. Thus, A and B are true, making 1, A and B the correct answer. I hope you have understood. Let's move to the next question. The same passage. The question is, which of the following are not true about the context of the passage? A, although a goal may look intellectual, it may not actually work for us. B, our subconscious mind will not motivate us unless we face our fears. C, the only way to keep yourself motivated throughout is by listening to many motivation speakers. Options are 1 is A, B and C, 2 only C, the third one only A, the fourth one A and B, and the fifth one only B. You have to choose accordingly and you have 10 seconds for it. I hope you've chosen the right one. Let's move to the correct answer. The same question. The correct answer is 2, only C. The explanation is C. The only way to keep yourself motivated throughout this by listening to many motivation speakers. This statement is false. The passage explains that listening to motivation speaker can provide temporary motivation, but it is not the key to long-term motivation. The author argues that intellectual reasoning, rather than emotional motivation alone, is what helps sustain action and drive. Therefore, this statement contradicts the central message of the passage, which suggests that motivation must be driven by a strong, meaningful goal, not just external inspiration. Since statement C is false, the correct answer is 2, only C. I hope you understood. Let's move to the next question. The passage is same. The question is, what does the author mean when he says it eventually phases out? Options are: we need continuous practice in phases to retain it. It reduces because of lack of practice. The third one is we become self-motivated with time. The fourth one is it goes after a period of time passes. The fifth one is it improves after a certain period passes. I hope you have understood. And you have 10 seconds to choose accordingly. I hope you have chosen. Let's move to the correct answer. The correct answer is 2. It reduces because of lack of practice. And the explanation is in the passage, the author says you can listen to hundreds of motivational speakers and experience an emotional yo-yo effect, but it does not fast. The problem is that we are intellectually guided. We are trying to find logic in emotional motivation, and as we fail to find logic, eventually phases out. The phrase phases out refers to the decline or disappearance of motivation over time, especially when it is based purely on emotional or temporary inspiration. The author is expressing that while emotional motivation, such as listening to motivational speaker or songs, may give a quick burst of energy or enthusiasm, this motivation fades or phases out because it lacks the intellectual foundation or long-term sustainability. Essentially, the motivation diminishes over time because it is not maintained or reinforced, which is why the author suggests that we need to find a deeper, more intellectual reason for motivation. Thus, too, it reduces because of lack of practice is the best explanation in line with the passage. I hope you have understood. This is the same passage, and the question is which of the following is most nearly the same in meaning to the word timid as used in the passage? Options are sudden, scared, humble, distant, and egoistic. You have 10 seconds to choose accordingly. I hope you've chosen the right one. Let's move to the correct answer. The correct answer is 3, humble, and the explanation is in the passage the word timid is used to describe goals that are too small or lack boldness, while timid generally refers to something shy or lacking confidence. In the context of the passage, the author is not just talking about fear but about goals that are overly modest or lacking in ambition. The word humble can also mean modest or low in ambition. In the context of setting goals, humble refers to goals that are not ambitious enough. In other words, they are goals that don't push you to be bold or courageous, which aligns with the passage idea of timid goals leading to a lack of motivation. So, when the author talks about setting too small and too timid goals, they mean goals that are too modest or humble to drive meaningful action or motivation. Thus, option number 3, humble, is the correct answer, but because it captures the essence of being modest and not challenging enough, similar to the way timid is used in the passage. I hope you have understood. Let's move to the next question. This is the same passage. Which of the following is most nearly the same in meaning to the word congruently as used in the passage? Options are periodically. Second one is in delusion. The third one is in addition. The fourth one is progressively. The fifth one is in agreement. You have 10 seconds to choose accordingly. I hope you have chosen the right one. Let's move to the correct answer. The correct answer is 5, in agreement. An explanation is in the passage the word congruently used in the phrase when you act congruently with that voice. The voice refers to the inner voice that encourages the person to pursue something meaningful and make something of their life. To act congruently with this voice means to act in alignment or agreement with one's true desires and goals, reflecting a sense of harmony between one's action and intentions. Therefore, 5 in agreement is the correct choice as it aligns with the idea of acting in harmony with one's true desires and intentions as described in the passage. I hope you understood. Let's move to the next question. This is the same passage. The question is, why does the author want to convey when he says, when you look further upstream, it becomes clear that the goal is ill advised? Options are: option 1 is when you analyze your goal closely, you realize that it is not what you thought it would be. The second one is when you work toward dealing with your problems, eventually they disappear. The third one is when you inspect the problem, you realize that the solution is within our reach. The fourth one is when you devise a method of motivating self, you must keep analyzing it periodically. The fifth one is when you face a problem, you realize your incapability of making good decisions. You have to choose one of the options and you have 10 seconds for it. I hope you've chosen the right one. Let's move to the correct answer. The correct answer is 1. When you analyze your goals closely, you realize that it is not what you thought it would be. And the explanation is in the passage, the author talks about how sometimes goals may seem reasonable or logical at first, but upon deeper reflection, you realize that they are not aligned with your true desires or values. The phrase, when you look further upstream, it becomes clear that the goal is ill advised, suggests that by examining a goal more closely, looking upstream, you can recognize that it may not be the right or meaningful goal for you. For example, the author explains that a person working in sales may have a goal of increasing their income by improving sales skills. But if they truly desire to be a musician, pursuing this goal in sales might feel like a motivational dead end. Thus, answer 1 aligns with the idea that deeper analysis reveals the goal is not what you initially thought it would be. I hope you have understood the explanation. Let's move to the next question. This is the same passage, and the question is, according to the passage, the author found it difficult to motivate it because A. He was not intellectually motivated. B. He wanted to take the easy way to out. C. He did not push himself hard enough. Options are: the first one is A and B, the second one is only C, the third one is only A, and the fourth one is A and C, and the fifth one is only B. You have 10 seconds to choose accordingly. I hope you've chosen the right one. Let's move to the correct answer. The correct answer is 3, only A. He was not intellectually motivated. And the explanation is A. He was not intellectually motivated. This statement is true according to the passage. The author mentions that they used to get frustrated when their emotional motivation would fizzle out, and they realized that being guided by intellect was not a bad thing. In fact, the author discovered that using their mind as an effective motivational tool helped them when they were not feeling motivated. They found that if they had strong intellectual reasons for pursuing a goal, they did not struggle with taking action. This indicates that the author found it difficult to stay motivated because they were not initially guided by intellectual motivation. Since only statement A is accurate based on the passage, the correct answer is 3, only A. I hope you understood. The same passage. According to the passage, what does the author say about emotional motivation? A. It tends to be temporary. B. It promises our negativity. C. It has the potential to inspire us. Options are given below: 1, A and B, the second one, only B, the third one, only A, the fourth one, A and C, and the fifth one, all of these. You have 10 seconds to choose accordingly. I hope you've chosen the right one. Let's move to the correct answer. The correct answer is 4, which is A and C. And the explanation is in the passage, the author talks about emotional motivation in the following ways. A. It tends to be temporary. This is true according to the passage. The author says that emotional motivation, such as that triggered by listening on motivational speakers or songs, is temporary. It provides an initial burst of enthusiasm but fades away over time. The author mentions this when describing the emotional yo-yo effect, where motivation rises and falls quickly. C. It has the potential to inspire us. This is also true. While emotional motivation may be fleeting, the author acknowledges that it can inspire us temporarily. This is why people often feel motivated when listening to a powerful motivational speech or song. The author does not suggest that emotional motivation promises negativity, which would imply it causes negative feelings or thoughts. Instead, the passage focuses on how it can be an initial spark, but is not a sustainable source of motivation. Both A, temporary, and C, potential to inspire, are accurate descriptions of emotional motivation. According to the passage, therefore, the correct answer is 4, which is A and C. I hope you understood the same passage. And the question is, which of the following can be an appropriate title for the passage? Options are: the first one is Living Life with Success. The second one is Why Don't We Feel Motivated? The third one is Our Only Aim Success. The fourth one is How to Achieve Intellectual Success. The fifth one is Feel Motivated, Feel Superior. I hope you have understood the options and you have 10 seconds to choose accordingly. I hope you've chosen the right one. Let's move to the correct answer. The correct answer is 2. Why don't we feel motivated? And the explanation is the passage primarily explores the reason why people often struggle to maintain motivation, particularly after the initial emotional surge fades. The author discusses how emotional motivation, like listening to motivational speakers or songs, can be fleeting and does not sustain action. Instead, the passage emphasizes that true motivation is rooted in intellectual reasoning and alignment with deeper desires rather than temporary emotional inspiration. The author also talks about the difficulty of staying motivated when goals do not match one's true desires or when the goals are too small or timid. Thus, Why Don't We Feel Motivated accurately captures the central theme of the passage, which revolves around understanding why motivation fades and how to cultivate lasting motivation. Therefore, too, Why Don't We Feel Motivated is the most fitting title, as it directly addresses the main concern discussed in the passage. I hope you've understood. So, this is all about this session. Thank you.